Alpine fans, here we are again in Paul's garage. This is actually Paul's garage. So today we're going to have a look at my 1997 Alpine GTA ATMO. The ATMO stands for atmospheric because it's a non-turbo. I think only about 500. Correct me in the comments below if I'm wrong. Non-turbo models were made. Now this is a 97 model, but in Australia it's recognised as a 1988 model because when it was imported, that's what they put on the import papers. So it's 2.8 litre PRV standing for Peugeot Renault Volvo, V6 engine. Now it was in a lot of Renault models, including the A310 Alpine, the 264 Volvo, a lot of Peugeot models, and also the DeLorean DMC-12. Now PRV obviously stands for Peugeot, Renault and Volvo, so it was made by those three companies, developed by those three companies to go into their different motor cars. And of course, when they were building the DeLorean, they were looking for an engine, and they settled for the 2.8 litre to go into that DeLorean. And the DeLorean also has the same gearbox as what's in this car, the Renault gearbox. So I purchased it about 2 years ago up in Brisbane, where from the bloke who had originally imported the car. Now it had sat unused there for about 8 years. So we went up, mate of mine and myself drove up in my X-Type Jaguar, which I showed you in a recent video. Had a look at it, bought it, and then on an unregistered permit I drove it 1,200 kilometres home. Pretty big ask to drive a car 1,200 kilometres that has been sitting around for such a long period, but it did it without any dramas. Now this car was delivered new into New Zealand. There was 100 cars delivered to New Zealand. Originally they were meant to go to the US, but for some reason the US changed their mind. New Zealand dealers put their hand up, said we'll take them. So instead of being made left-hand drive for the US market, they were made right-hand drive for the New Zealand market, and that's how this car came to be in Australia, being imported. Now, the reason I bought this car was simply because it was a New Zealand car. New Zealand cars New Zealand don't have the snow and the salt put on the roads and all that sort of stuff. So the cars don't suffer from the chassis rust as what the English imported cars do. So obviously when we got it home, I parked it in the garage for a while because after driving it that distance and the stress of wondering if anything was going to break, I just parked it in the sheds for about a month or so before I even looked at it. Now all the coolant hoses had to be replaced. They were all old and brittle. The radiator was leaking, so that was replaced. Replaced all the fuel lines. The gearbox was, you couldn't get fifth gear. The gear selection was like stirring a pot of soup. So we replaced all the nylon gear bushes, and there's two little, best way to describe them is two little plastic balls on the gearbox end of the gear linkage. They were non-existent. That was the reason why I couldn't get fifth gear. So we replaced them. I had some aluminium ones made, which stiffened up the gearbox beautifully. So now it's a very short, very direct selection of the gear linkers. Also the hood lining, when I was cleaning the hood lining, it just fell down. The rubber foam just separated and went to pieces, so I put a new hood lining in. All new engine belts, gearboxes, spark plugs, gaskets, new tyres, rebuilt the brakes and the Weber carburettor. Now it's a non-standard carburettor in this car. It is the Weber, which is a lot better. Now with the tyres, besides the fact that they're about 12 years old, the rear tyres were wearing on the inside. Now these cars are built from European roads where the roads are flat. Australian roads have a camber, and you can't adjust the camber on the back wheels on one of these cars. So you have to make some adjustments underneath. You have to elongate some holes and move the wheels. So basically, when you look at it now from behind, it looks a little bit like so. With this wheel here on the left-hand side is almost sitting plumb, and the other one's got a little bit of camber on it, simply because the camber in Australian roads. So that's about all on the car and the history that I know of it. So we'll take a bit of a look around. As you can see today, I'm filming in the garage simply because it's finally decided to rain in the central west in New South Wales today, which is fabulous to see. You can probably hear it on the roof. Things are getting a well-deserved drink. So we'll move along. We'll have a look in the engine bay first, then in the front, then we'll have a look in the interior, and we'll take it for a spin. So here we are in the engine bay. I did have to replace the struts that hold this up, and also replace the carpet. The carpet was pretty shot. So we lift up the cover, and there you have it, the 2.8 litre V6 BRV engine. Now, if you've looked in these engine bays before, you will notice it is somewhat different to the turbo models. It doesn't have all the big pipe work and everything else that is around it. But other than that, besides it being a slightly larger displacement, it is all pretty much the same. So you'll see the yellow coolant hoses here. I bought these off a fella down in Tasmania who had a yellow GTA, and he bought these hoses for his car. Unfortunately, the car was stolen and torched by the thieves, and he never fitted the hoses, and he had a few other bits and pieces as well. So I bought all that stuff off him, because parts can be a bit hard to get, and fitted them to this car. It's a bit of a hassle when you're doing radiator hoses, because underneath here you've got all these hoses, and you've got hoses that are underneath the inlet manifold. So all that manifold and everything all has to come off to get to those hoses. And of course, once I pulled all that off, I discovered a lot of mud wasp nests underneath there. So had to clean all that out, obviously, to replace all the hoses. There's a couple of metal pipes up the back here which were rusted out, so I got a friend of mine to replicate a couple of those. Cost me about $100 for him to make them. If I had bought them, they're still available, new. You know, they're a few hundred euros, so that saved me quite a bit of money. I also replaced all the spark plug leads and the boots and all that sort of stuff. So in here, it's fairly economical. It's fairly reliable. The air conditioning's all been rebuilt as well. New compressor, all new hoses and everything else. So one of the few cars that has air conditioning, but it's now working, and with it being such a small cabin, it makes it a much more pleasant place to be if you can have a little bit of cooling in there. So it's finally stopped raining. So I thought I'd give you a bit of a look around the shed and where I keep my cars. This is, of course, my hoist, two-post hoist, which is quite a valuable tool for servicing and working on cars. Outside here is where I keep my X-Type, which I showed you in a previous film. There, of course, is the Alpine, the star of today's film. But I just thought I'd have a bit of a look around Paul's garage, or in Australia, as we like to call them, the shed. So it's nothing special. It's just this one's just a tin shed with a few cupboards and a bit of a work area over there, and a bit of a chair to contemplate what we're doing at times, which is a good thing to have. A few little
trinkets and oil cans on the walls. Some Jaguar memorabilia. A bit of a Jaguar fan, as you know. And as we work our way around the shed, of course there's the Gordini park there, and there's Tess. Tess the technician, I call her. She keeps me in tow, makes sure that I do everything correctly. So that's about it for the shed. If we go back to the Alpine, you can see it's got a trickle charge connected. It's got the AZEV wheels, which are probably on 90% of the cars these days. I'll just open the bonnet up and give you a look inside there. This is the boot area, fuel tank area, battery of course. Not a great deal of room in there. If you want to go anywhere for a period of time, it's best you don't take a bag. You just play Tetris and put all your clothes and bits and pieces in there. It is a little bit easier. We do take a couple of bags. We put one small bag in there and one small bag behind the seat. What's going on, Tess? Say hello. Say hello. So the cars that were delivered into New Zealand and into the English or British market only had a Renault badge. They were badged as Renault because the Alpine or the Alpine name was already being used by another brand. So they didn't have anything on the front to say that it was an Alpine. So I got these chrome letters and put them on the front. I think it's a nice addition. Go around into the car if there's enough light. Inside the car, as you can see, Tessa's ready to go for a drive already. It's very 1980s, 5-speed manual as we discussed in earlier videos. Yeah, not a bad place to be. Can be a little bit cramped. The back of the car, I don't know if this will come out very well, but no, it won't. There are back seats in there. I have had people in there in the past, but they are a little bit cramped. So that'll do for this for the moment. We'll take it for a drive in a minute. Looks like Tess is making herself quite comfortable in the driver's seat over there, so she may be driving and I might be the passenger. Okay, we'll get the car out and take it for a spin. So here we go, guys, out in the Alpine GTA. Let's take it for a spin. Nice little drive out in the countryside in the central west of New South Wales today. Bit of a rattle happening over there on the left hand side. But anyway, the car's over 30 years old, so you got to sort of expect a rattle or two. But once you get rolling in this car, the steering, even though it's not power assisted, it's not too heavy. The steering wheel's nice and comfortable. Gear selection, now that it's all been done up, is really terrific. Yeah. Head out here, a few little dips on this road, so quite a few little gear changes. It's got a nice note to the exhaust. I'll put the window up just in case there's a little bit too much noise coming in. It's a very comfortable car, very easy to drive. Like I said, the gears are easy to select. The pedals, typical of an older car, they're too damn close together. I'm a big dude, I've got big feet, so that can be a bit of a problem. Like I said, I drove this car 1,500 kilometres, or 1,200 kilometres I think it was actually, from Queensland
all the way back home, and I didn't miss a beat. Taking it down to Victoria on an Alpine run down there, never missed a beat. It's done 90,000 miles, which I'm not too sure how far that is in kilometres, but it's probably 120, 130,000 kilometres. It still does, bang bang. It still does 38 miles a gallon on the trip. It's a cool day out here today. Got the heater on, so it's nice and comfy in the driver's seat. Nice and warm. This is the end of our road here. Just spin the car around. So it does go very, very well. I'll give it a bit of a run down the road here for you. Go through the gears. And that was second gear, by the way. That wasn't first gear. That was a bit of a mistake on my part. So there we go. That was crikey. That was up to 60 mile an hour real quick. Just bring that back down a little bit. So all in all, if you're able to get one of these, the most common of these cars is the turbo. I'm quite happy that this is not a turbo. Just one more thing to go wrong in them. Like I said, it gets along really, really well. On a long trip, my wife likes the seating in it. She thinks the seats are quite comfortable. Not quite so comfortable for me, being a little bit bigger. The bolsters here, do squeeze me a little bit, but that's probably a good thing. It keeps me in the seat. Around corners a bit quick. But it's had everything replaced on it since I brought it home, from radiators, electric fans, all the pipes, wood linings, all the fuel lines. Basically, anything that looked suspect was replaced. Anything that should have been replaced was replaced. So this should be a very comfortable and reliable car for years to come. One thing I don't like about it, I guess, is getting a bit older now, getting in and out of the car. You got to sit down and swing yourself in. It's a little bit low to the ground. Doesn't have a great deal of headroom. My head's just about on the hood lining there. But once you settle down into the seat, everything becomes pretty good. Sometimes we do longer trips in them, as I said earlier, down to Victoria, which was quite interesting. I'll leave the link to that trip in the comments. So if anybody wants to have a look at that, they can have a look at the trip we did down there. It's quite an interesting couple of days. Quite a good selection of Alpines, from A110s, A310. I think there was 3 or 4 GTAs. There was an A610. And of course that was last year prior to the release of the new A110 Alpine in Australia. So there's none of those, but there's so much footage and photographs on the internet of those cars. You don't need to see any more in live videos. It's just the footage is everywhere in them. Well, that's it. That's a wrap up. So I'll see you next time I'm looking at you. Thanks guys, and enjoy.